So it may look like I am parked backing onto a beautiful forest. However, it is basically just a parking lot. Hello everybody, so I'm here in the camper. It is very, very cold right now. I have my window and my door completely open just because I'm trying to dry it out in here, which I can explain a little bit more about in a minute, but today I thought I would just do probably a really important video explaining some things, but basically it's just pros and cons of living in the camper. I wrote a nice little pro and con list, and I thought I would just go through some of my points and explain a little bit what are the positives of living mobile in a truck and camper, and what are some of the cons of doing that. So first and foremost, the first pro of living in the truck camper is not having to pay rent. Basically, I have a much cheaper cost of living now that I'm not in an apartment. I've mentioned this before, but also specifically where I live in my country of Canada, our rent prices are very high, and I am saving more than $1,000 a month by not having to pay rent, basically. For the cons, the first con is that you have to deal with temperatures being really cold or really hot in the winter time, which it is, I don't know if it's officially winter yet or if it's still fall, but being in Canada, we have very cold temperatures. In the summertime, we also do get very hot temperatures, and yeah, basically being mobile like this and not having access to having full-time power makes it difficult to have any kind of like heater or like air conditioning. That's not something that I have, so definitely the temperatures when they fluctuate and are very severe, it can be difficult in here. Hence why I am in 4 layers right now and a scarf inside my home. However, a pro of living in the camper is that I always have all of my stuff with me, basically wherever I am. So it doesn't matter if I am working, if I am at a doula birth and I'm working with a family, if I'm at a hospital, it really doesn't matter where, but I have my entire life with me. That includes all of my clothes, all of my reading materials, food, all that kind of thing, hygienic stuff. So after like a long night of work, I can just come back into my home and have access to everything that you would. It also means when I travel, I don't have to think about packing. Everything that I would need is with me. The cons, kind of to go along with the last one, is I have no power or endless supply of water. So basically meaning that charging devices, I have to plan ahead, and yeah, basically just find electricity where I can, since I do not have it here with me. I do have a battery that is charged by my truck, meaning that I do have running lights that work within the camper, but there's not enough electricity to charge any devices, to run a heater or dehumidifier, anything like that. And of course, endless water. I have a tank that I can refill, but it means that I just have to be very mindful of how much water I'm using. Another pro is that I can live wherever I want, more or less whenever I want. So I can move to a new place and not have to worry about really uprooting myself, since everything I have is ready to go. And it's also nice to be in a new place but have something familiar. It's never like moving into a new house where you have to get comfortable with it. I always have my house and things that make me feel comfortable with me, so that is a pro. Another con is that I do not have a bathroom. I obviously do have a bucket that I keep with me, so if in the middle of the night I have to pee, and let me tell you, I use that more or less every day, especially when I wake up in the morning and I have to get ready in here, and certain like coffee shops and places aren't open and I just really have to pee. I do have my own kind of vessel for that. However, not having a personal bathroom with a shower and a sink and hot water, that kind of thing, is a bit of a con. Another pro for me, I debated talking about this one because he's probably going to see this. Anyways, a pro of living in the camper for me is getting closer with my partner. I think this one could probably be a pro or a con depending on who you are and depending on the relationship. For me, I just found that living in the camper basically allowed me to spend a lot more time with my partner, and because there's less space, you definitely get to know a person a lot faster. For me, this was a pro because I guess I just found out that he was a good person to live with, and the more time I spend with him, the more I like him. So basically, getting closer with my partner, spending more time with them, has only been a positive for me anyways. It's also really nice having a person experiencing this lifestyle with you to kind of comfort you when things get like difficult, and vice versa. Like obviously it's not all exploring and just carefree living mobile, so it's been really nice to have another person there along on the journey. One of the cons is kind of the uncomfortable living or sleeping. So because I do work in a town, and basically where the best overnight and free parking is downtown in this little town, it means I do sleep kind of outside of people's homes and apartment buildings, where the parking is absolutely legal and it's free, it's fine. However, just kind of being known, because living in my big truck and camper, it's not the most inconspicuous, so people have definitely started to recognize me. Some people have began to try to get to know me. It's just, yeah, sometimes a little uncomfortable to have people staring at you while you get in or out of your house, living on the street. A pro of living in the truck and camper has been learning, or I guess just putting your problem solving skills to the test. So there have definitely been some times when things just go awry and you have to problem solve, whether that is just like weather stuff or leaks or vehicle issues, anything like that. There's always kind of something that seems to pop up, so I feel like problem solving is a skill that just kind of comes in handy, and you learn to get very creative. One of probably the biggest cons for me, at the moment at least, is mold. So where I am living, I live right next to the ocean. I'm practically on the ocean, and this has caused a lot of issues when it comes to mold, and basically everything in my camper at the moment is starting to mold. Everything from the walls of the camper to my food, my pantry, my mattress, my curtains, even my gemstones and like wood bowls inside my cups. Basically everything is kind of just turning to mold, and I do clean it as often as I can, so like every other day I spray it with bleach. But yeah, it's just one of those things that if I had power and a dehumidifier, that might help negate the problem a little bit. But it's just kind of one of those things, like I said, I have to problem solve for on daily, and yeah, mold is like the biggest thing at the moment. Another pro of living in the camper is I have less stuff. I wouldn't say that I'm a minimalist by any means. However, I do just generally have less stuff because I have less space for it, and it feels really good not to have a lot of crap that I would have to worry about. Although I must say I do feel like I have more stuff than I need oftentimes. So yeah, I would have no issue downsizing a little more. But just having less stuff is a big pro. Another con is having possible unexpected vehicle costs or breakdowns. Basically, things can go south with vehicles and you can have unexpected costs. Me, at the moment, I have a muffler that is all rusted out, so my truck is very, very loud, and that is obviously a little bit of a chip in the bank account. I guess unlike having a rent that, I guess unless you had some kind of like a fire or insurance didn't cover something, maybe like a break-in, you probably don't experience like a sudden high cost of something, whereas with a vehicle, breakdowns are a little bit more common and the maintenance of vehicles can be a little bit more costly. Now, I must say that my camper really does feel comfortable. Honestly, I feel like it is my home. I've made it suit me and be comfortable for me. The mold makes it feel a little less uncomfortable, to be honest, but I mean, everything in here is, yeah, makes it feel homey, and yeah, I like spending time in here. One con to that though is you do feel less stable, especially when it comes to explaining to other people where you live and sometimes why you're living this way. So if people ask what your mailing address is, I obviously use my family's as my backup mailing address. If something really requires an address, I use my family's. But yeah, that was something, having your own space, having like an apartment or something, or a home, having an address and kind of this like location that makes you feel really stable and maybe secure in the area where you're living, whereas I don't have that. So sometimes it feels a little bit uncomfortable explaining to people that you just live in your truck and a camper. So anyways, I hope this video wasn't too long, but I just thought I would do a little pro and con to let you guys know what it's like for me anyways, and just my experience living in the camper. I do not regret moving into the camper in any way. Obviously there are some difficult days, like I said, when I'm dealing and struggling with some of the things I am now, like the cold wetness that causes the mold and that kind of thing. Overall, it's been a really good move, and it's allowed me to do a lot of things that I don't think I would have done otherwise. It's also allowed me to really be less overpowered by this constant need to work. So I've really been able to choose my work schedule and basically the jobs that I want to have. I have more leeway that way. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Ask me any questions if you have them, and recommend any videos if you have them. See you next time. Bye.